Chapter 10. Documenting the Project. In this chapter we will find out more about creating professional construction documentation in GRAPHISOFT ArchiCAD. We will use ArchiCAD Project View, plans, sections, elevations, detail drawings, and so on, as well as drawings from external sources to develop the final construction documentation layout book. The completed document set can then be printed, plotted, uploaded to an FTP site, as well as saved in different file formats. We'll use ArchiCAD's built-in PDF export options and save the final documentation set in PDF format. Step 1. Creating documentation, Navigator review. In this step, the architectural team will create layouts of the construction documentation. ArchiCAD provides an easy-to-use professional documentation system. The basis of this system is the Project Organizer, an extended version of the Navigator. It has a double tree structure to make it easier to move and copy views and files from one map to another. We will be working extensively with the Organizer in this step. After opening the col10.pln ArchiCAD project file, switch to the project map of the Navigator. Double-click to activate the first floor under Stories. Expand the Quick Options palette, or activate it if it is not displayed, by clicking the third button to the left in the horizontal scroll bar below the floor plan viewpoint. In the project map of the Navigator, you can freely set how you want to display your project by switching among the various settings for floor plans, sections, and so on. You can quickly set these using the Quick Options palette, which gives you access to the following settings of viewpoints: layer combination, scale, partial structure display settings, pen set, model view option combination, dimensions. Let's open the Organizer now. Click the Project Chooser button in the upper left corner of the Navigator and select Show Organizer in the pop-up list. This brings up the Organizer palette where you can easily manage and organize your views, drawings, layouts, and publisher sets. To save room on your screen, hide the Navigator in the Quick Options palette and dock the Organizer palette to the right. Switch to the project map in the left pane of the Organizer, and switch to the view map in its right pane. With the view map shown on the right, the title of the palette changes to Organizer View Editor. Let's begin to assemble the construction documentation for the project. First, we will create, in practice save, the necessary project views, such as floor plans, sections and elevations, detail views, schedules, and so on. These will be the sources of the drawings that we place on the pages of the layout book. The project views will be created in the manner in which we would like to see them in the final documentation set. They will contain the appropriate layer combination, scale, dimension setting, and so on. Right-click on the Microsoft Hungary office building at the top of the list in the view map on the right, and select New Folder from the context menu. The Create New Folder dialog appears. Enter Architectural CD for the name of the Architectural Construction Documentation folder, and click the Create button to proceed. The View Map folder has been created at the top of the View Map folder list. We will now demonstrate how you can save the various views from the project map to the view map using the settings used for the construction documentation phase drawings. Let's first save the stories. Select the folder you just created and click the Clone a Folder button, the second to the right of the row of buttons below the view list. This opens the Clone a Folder dialog. Using the Clone Folder function, ArchiCAD creates a mirrored copy set of a certain viewpoint group within the project map. It always synchronizes all the cloned items in the view map with their original elements in the project map from which it was cloned. Also, all items in the cloned folder are saved with the exact same settings. For instance, if we create a new story or delete one, the cloned View Stories folder will follow these changes in the view map and will also create or delete the given story accordingly so it remains synchronized. The newly created items will automatically receive the properties of the saved folder in the view map. Select the story's project map folder in the list of the identification panel. Note that the General and 2D, 3D Documents panels are expanded. Here you can specify the settings that will be in effect in the created clone folder. Please use the settings in the General and 2D, 3D Documents panels as described here. For the scale, select 1 to 50. For structure display, select Entire Structure. And for the pen set, select Building Plans 50. For the Model View option field, select Plans CD. For the dimensions, int meter. And for zooming, select Fit in Window. Uncheck the Ignore Zoom when opening this view checkbox. Then click the Clone button to save this folder with its content and settings to the Architectural CD folder of the view map. As you can see, the Stories Clone folder has been created on the right side. Expand this folder and select First Floor in the list. Notice the View Properties panel located below the list shows the previously specified settings. If you want to modify the saved views later, just click the Settings button at the bottom of the palette. Let's create a folder for sections as well. Here we will use a different view creation technique. Collapse the Stories folder in the right pane. Select the Sections folder on the left and set the settings in the View Settings and Storing Options field at the bottom of the left pane according to the following values. For the Layer Combination field, select Sections from the pop-up list. Please specify the same values as before for all the other fields. Click on the Sections folder, hold down the left mouse button, and drag and drop it to the right pane, just below the previously cloned Stories folder. When saving project views this way, the views are created, but there is no synchronization between the view map folder and their source in the project map folder if new project views are created as the design progresses, for example, if a new section is created in the project. This can be useful in certain cases. During your daily work, you might create some temporary sections for editing and checking the model, but you don't want to place these sections on the layouts. We will now remove a temporary section from the Sections folder we've just created. Expand the newly created Sections folder on the right side. Select the Gallery Ceiling section created for ceiling editing, and click the Delete button below the view list. Click the Delete Anyway button in the upcoming warning dialog to confirm. This removes only the view, but its source viewpoint in the project will not be removed. Let's continue by saving the elevation views as well. Collapse the Sections folder on the right side. Now select the Elevations folder in the project map. Choose Elevations for Layer Combination, and set all other settings to the same values as before for sections. Drag and drop this folder into the right pane just below the previously saved Sections folder. We don't need to delete any elevations. We will need all of their views. We will use details and schedules with their design development phase settings. We need to just simply copy these folders from the design development folders to the construction documentation folders within the view map. Switch to the view map on the left side of the organizer. Now both sides of the organizer, View Editor palette, are displaying the view map. Expand the Architectural DD folder on the left. Select the Details and Schedule folders. Press the Control key on Windows or the Command key on Macintosh to create a selection set with multiple elements. Let's now create copies from these folders. Click and hold down the left mouse button on the selected folders, and also simultaneously hold down the Control key on Windows or the Option key on Mac. Drag and drop the folders to the right side, below the Elevations folder. During drag and drop, you will see the arrow with plus sign cursor shape, which indicates that a copy is being created. The Details and Schedule View folders have been copied and placed within the Architectural CD view set. As you may remember, we saved the Reflected Ceiling Plans view folder in Chapter 4, so this folder already exists in the view map. Now all we need to do is move it to the right place. Select the Reflected Ceiling Plans folder within the Chapter 10 folder of the Collaboration ITG folder on the left side, and drag it to the right side below the Stories and above the Sections folders. Now we have saved all the necessary views, so let's start to create the layouts of the construction documentation. Switch to the Layout book on the right side. Notice the name of the dialog changes to Organizer Layout Editor. Collapse any open layout sets and select the Microsoft Hungary Office Building Layout book at the top of the layout list. Click the New Subset button, the third to the right in the row of buttons below the layout list. The Create New Subset dialog appears. Enter construction documentation for name and click the Create button to proceed. The new subset folder has been created on the right side. Let's create the layouts for Stories first. Expand the master folder of the layout book and right-click the CD Master 4 layout and choose Set as Default from the context menu. The default master layout will be applied to all the newly created layouts. This acts as a master template for layouts with size, orientation, margins, and so on for the new layout. Notice that the icon of the default master layout is slightly different from the icon of other master layouts. This helps you quickly identify the default master layout. Expand the Architectural CD folder on the left side and select the Stories and Reflected Ceiling Plans folders. Drag and drop them into the Construction Documentation folder on the right side. A Drawing Update window appears that shows the progress of placing the layouts and generating the content of drawings placed on these layouts. Expand the Construction Documentation folder, as well as the 01.1 Stories folder within, on the right side. Double-click to activate the 01.1.3 First Floor layout. Right-click and select Fit in Window from the context menu to see the whole layout. As you can see, the drawing generated from the first floor view has been placed at the middle of the layout. The size of the layout was set to the size of the default master layout. Notice that the placed drawing is larger in size than the largest defined master layout. To solve this problem, we will divide the project and the drawings to show the left and right wings. First, we will create the first floor of the right wing. Click to activate the arrow tool in the toolbox. select the drawing on the layout by clicking it with the arrow tool. Activate the Edit, Move, Drag menu command. Click at the top right corner of the drawing to define the starting point of the drag vector. Drag it to the upper left corner of the red-colored title frame on the layout. If necessary, zoom into the layout for accurate placement. Click the left edge of the drawing to activate the pet palette. Select the Offset Edge command and offset the edge to the left blue margin of the layout. We will also need to rename this layout. With the layout selected in the Layout book, go to the Properties panel and delete the number 1 from before First Floor in the name field of the layout. Add Right Wing to the name so the name of the layout becomes First Floor Right Wing. Now let's create the drawing showing the left wing. Select this layout in the Layout book. Hold down the Control key on Windows or the Option key on Macintosh. Hold down the left mouse button and drag and drop the layout just below itself in the list to create a copy of it. Double-click the created layout copy and modify its name to First Floor Left Wing. We need to assign a different master layout to this layout since the left wing is smaller than the right wing. Choose the CD Master 3 Master Layout from the Master Layout drop-down menu in the Properties panel. Notice that this master layout, as can be seen from the updated size of the layout, is smaller. Select the drawing on the layout, click its right edge, and offset it to the left side of the red-colored title frame. With the drawing still selected, click and hold down the left mouse button anywhere inside the drawing's boundary. Within seconds, the pet palette will be displayed. Select the Move sub-element top left icon in the pet palette and start moving the content of the drawing to the right. Hold down the Shift key to lock the drag vector angle to 0 degrees and move the content of the drawing to the right almost as much as the drawing's width. Make sure the left wing and the bridge are fully shown inside the drawing frame. Please note that to save time we will not create all the story drawings in this step. You can, however, create them by yourself if you wish in the same manner as we created the first floor drawings. Let's now create the section and then the elevation layouts. Collapse the 01.1 Stories folder of the Layout book. Go to the Masters folder, right-click the CD Master 1 Master Layout, and select Set as Default from the context menu. Select the Sections and Elevations folders of the Architectural CD folder in the View map and drag and drop them to the right side below the 01.2 Reflected Ceiling Plans subset. Expand the newly created 01.3 Sections subset of the Layout book and double-click the 01.3.2 S2 cross-section layout to see the placed section drawing on the layout. As you can see, the placed drawing fits nicely within the layout margins. Let's go ahead and set the numbering of the layouts. Select the Construction Documentation folder on the right side and click the Settings button in the Properties panel. This displays the Subset Settings dialog. Select the Custom ID radio button and keep the Custom ID field empty. This excludes the selected subset from the ID sequence of the layout book, and also there will be no subset prefix in the layout IDs within the subset. Select the Customize ID Assignment radio button in the IDs of items in this subset panel, and check the Add Prefix for this subset checkbox. Then enter A- in the prefix field below it. The preview panel of the dialog shows the ID sequence resulting from the current settings. Choose the 1, 2, 3 item in the ID style field. Click OK to accept changes and leave the dialog. Notice the IDs of the folders within the subset have changed. They now start with A1, A2, and so on. The ID of the construction documentation folder is also gone, as per our settings. Collapse all folders within the construction documentation folder and select all of these subfolders. Click the Settings button again. As you can see, the Assign ID Automatically radio button is now active in the Subset Identification panel. This change has resulted from the settings for the construction documentation set to which these layers belong. Select the Customize ID Assignment radio button in the IDs of items in this subset panel, and check the Use Prefix and IDs of upper levels checkbox. Also, uncheck the Add Prefix for this subset checkbox. Choose the 01, 02, 03 item in the ID style field and click OK. Then, expand the A1 Stories and A3 Sections folders. Notice the numbering of the subsets has changed according to the settings. For example, the ID of the basement plan is A101, and the ID of the S1 longitudinal section is A301. The first digit in the ID number refers to the drawing type, and the last two refer to the layout number. It took only a few minutes to set up and put together the construction documentation layout book. The basis of this quick documentation setup is the Project Organizer, which provides a clear overview of our design project.